Hey, welcome back. Audrey here from chica+co. Why do so many dogs suffer intolerances like skin and gut upsets when they eat chicken? And why does chicken seem to be the most problematic protein for so many dogs? I have heard so many pet parents tell me, he can't eat chicken, he's allergic to it. And when I push them a little further to find out what the symptoms are, it, 9 times out of 10, is chronically itchy skin. So why does the humble chicken have such a bad reputation? Many vets have told them it's probably just the chicken, don't feed it, without any further explanation. So today's topic is all about food allergies and food intolerances and how we have ended up here with so many itchy dogs. So what comes first, the itchy dog or the chicken, is today's a big question, and spoiler, it's not entirely the chicken's fault. They may have been given a really bad rap. So I'll just start at the beginning. What's the difference between allergy and an intolerance? Short answer is how severe the reaction is and how fast it can happen. A food allergy is when their body has an immune reaction to a particular type of food. It can be something that other dogs normally eat without any problem, but for a couple of reasons, their body sees it as a threat, so it triggers an immune response. The reaction can be mild symptoms like a rash or some itchiness, vomiting or diarrhea, or it can sometimes be severe and cause severe symptoms like trouble breathing or swelling of the throat in severe cases. It can even be life-threatening. I've seen pets with severe allergic reactions to bee or ant bites, and they end up in emergency because their throat and face swells so much they have trouble breathing and they collapse. But it is very, very rare to see this type of extreme reaction to common foods like chicken. Interesting to note, and I'll touch on this again, the most common allergic reactions people suffer from are caused by soybeans and eggs, shellfish, or peanuts. Okay, a food intolerance, on the other hand, is when they or you can't digest a particular food properly. It's different from an allergy in their body doesn't see their food as a threat. Instead, their body has trouble breaking down and absorbing the food. This is because their body, or yours, doesn't have enough of the needed enzymes in their gut to digest certain types of food, namely chicken. This is known as enzyme deficiency intolerance and can cause some of the same symptoms as an allergy, like stomach pain or bloating, diarrhea or vomiting, and usually it's not as severe or life-threatening. If they have a food intolerance, they might be able to eat small amounts of the food without any big flare-ups, but over time this will build up and eventually you may see a severe reaction. So now we've established the difference between allergy and an intolerance. It's pretty clear to say that my dog is allergic to chicken is probably not true. They're most likely to have an intolerance to chicken. A nutrition client of mine came to me because her dog was chronically itchy and she had tried literally every probiotic, changed foods so many times, tried different brands, washes and all that sort of stuff, and had been on a prescription kibble from her vet for nearly 12 months with no real improvement. We worked together for around 14 weeks and the change was dramatic in the last 2 of those weeks. It was a new dog, not itchy, and her hair actually started to grow back. So in the interest of introducing some variety into her proteins, I asked her to feed half a boiled egg in her meal. I got a panicked call the next morning. Her dog had literally scratched until she was bleeding, and she was up most of the night scratching herself, pouring at her ears, and she had a really, really extreme reaction to that chicken egg. So in her example, I would categorise her dog as being allergic to chicken in all of its forms, including eggs, which leads me to the next part of the chicken puzzle and why this sort of reaction would occur so suddenly in that doggo. And unfortunately, so many others. That's vaccines. What the heck do those yearly vaccinations have to do with chicken? Some canine vaccines, particularly rabies vaccines for those living in the USA, doesn't happen in Australia, are produced using fertilised chicken eggs or chicken embryo cell cultures to grow and multiply the viruses for vaccines. It's all done in a lab. This method is common for certain viral vaccines like kennel cough or parvo because chicken embryo cells provide a suitable host for virus propagation. Now, there is evidence and veterinary discussion suggesting that residual proteins from chicken embryo production can trigger hypersensitivity reactions in dogs, particularly leading to food allergies or sensitivities to chicken or eggs. This occurs because injected vaccine proteins bypass the digestive system and may sensitise the immune system via type 1 hypersensitivity, which causes future reactions to similar proteins in foods. Now, in no way am I suggesting not to vaccinate your pets, but the link between vaccines and those dogs suffering from chicken intolerance or allergies has been researched, and the evidence is quite clear. Fortunately, from 6 weeks of age, then over the course of the first year of their lives, we repeat those vaccinations multiple times and then yearly. These vaccines are cultured from chicken protein. They flow around the body via the blood, and the immune system over time begins to recognise chicken protein as a threat. It's a danger. And off it goes, releasing histamine to counterattack and to neutralise. And what are the side effects of histamine? Chronic itchiness, inflamed eyes, throat, ears, and quite often inflammation at the injection site. Topita, our 13-year-old lady, has to have an antihistamine tablet before her vaccinations. Her face used to swell up like a balloon. At the time, both the vet and I put it down to an immune response to the antibodies, and not for 1 second thinking it was the way that they were produced. And I also noticed a mild reaction in her after she ate chicken. She just kind of got itchy. So years ago, I decided not to feed any of our dogs chicken in large amounts. They're all raw fed, by the way, because I believed the quality of the farmed protein was compromised due to the food they ate. That's the chickens, that is. But I was missing this important piece of the puzzle. Look, not all dogs will react this way. It literally is potluck, dependent on your dog's breed, their puppy parents' diets, and where you live. Again, please vaccinate your pets. Just keep this little bit of chicken knowledge in the back of your mind when you are suddenly encountering an unexplainable long-term bout of chronic itching. If you think chicken may be causing it, start by removing it from their diets completely. That's an obvious statement, right? Now, on saying this is where things can get a lot more challenging. Chicken is literally everywhere in pet food. It's often disguised as in those ingredient lists. If you see meat meal, meat digest, bone meal, it's most likely derived from chicken waste. That's the leftovers from the human food industry. It's super cheap. There's literally thousands and thousands of tons of waste that are chemically rendered into mush and then powdered. Some of the most expensive kibble brands available for those very dogs with sensitivities are made from chicken feathers. Yep, the feathers. Royal Canin Hypoallergenic stars in this list, and to add insult to injury, their top 5 ingredients contain hydrolyzed soya protein, so again it's chemically rendered soybeans, and soya oil, as well as the hydrolyzed poultry digest, which are the feathers. Now, hydrolyzed means to chemically alter the protein molecules. They change and become unrecognisable to the animal's body as chicken. So those feathers come from chickens, but they do not resemble chicken in any way, hence the hypersensitive or low allergy formulation. And just to go back, soy is one of the top foods humans have reactions to as well. So it stands to reason that dogs would. And alarmingly, this bag of feathery joy will set you back $58 just for 2 kilos of it. Back to why so many dogs have problems with chicken. Another reason, put simply, is exposure. Over time, feeding the same protein, which most commonly is chicken, can increase the risk of allergic reactions in dogs, and the same applies to humans. And so many commercial pet foods are based on chicken as the main source of protein. You can change their food up, but often hidden in those ingredient lists is chicken. You know the old saying, unfortunately, too much of a good thing is bad, and intolerance can happen long after their vaccination schedules. They maybe showed no signs of any problems for years, then gradually the chronic itchiness ramps up. Hence, the difficulty in getting to the bottom and working out what's actually causing their misery. Now, before I learnt the puzzle piece about vaccinations, I assumed that chicken was a poor quality protein for our pets because of what the chickens actually ate. I'm correct in this one as well, unfortunately. Here's a short list of the Australian commercially fed chicken formulation and what it consists of. There's wheat, maize, sorghum, bran pollen, which is a byproduct of the flour milling process, protein meals, soybean again, blood meat meal derived from the chicken that is unsuitable for human consumption. They're literally eating themselves. Vegetable oils, soy again, sunflower, canola and cottonseed, and additives like mold inhibitors and carotenoids, basically which are a colorant to make the yolks yellow and the colour of the skin look good to us. No one wants to eat grey chicken. When farm chickens eat this kind of diet, their meat, fat, eggs and bones mirror those ingredients. And to add another element, factory farm chickens also live very stressful, cramped lives and require medication and antibiotics to survive. And this is also passed on to your pets who eat the meat. Now, we've kept chicken in our backyard for pets and for the joy that they bring, as well as the eggs. If you've ever kept chickens and they were free-ranging like ours were, their diet of choice is grubs and bugs, seeds, fruits, new leaf sprouts, and surprisingly, they'll happily eat meat sourced from carcasses of whatever dead things they can come across, like mice or lizards and so on. The taste of free-range organic chicken, not saying that I ate my pet chickens, is completely different to commercially farmed. And the only chicken protein, feathers and all, used in pet foods is the farmed chicken carcass waste not fit for human consumption. So in summary, yes, chicken gets a really bad rap, but the combination of yearly vaccinations, commercially raised chicken waste being the cornerstone of so many pet foods, and the continual feeding of these chicken byproduct ingredients in all these foods will, over time, lead to intolerances and reactions. Again, I strongly agree with vaccinating your pets, but instead of the yearly schedule, opt for a titer test instead. The simple quick blood test will show the level of your dog's immunity. If your dog's blood work shows immunity to the illnesses that you're vaccinating against, opt to skip that year and retest the following year. You'd be surprised how long their antibodies are active even after several years of missing that annual shot. It's not necessary to have them every year. Okay, the takeaway here, no pun intended on takeaway chicken, read those food labels and choose a food that states the origin of the meat meal, meat digest or hydrolyzed protein. Avoid those that don't state that because it will be chicken. Pick a different protein source and avoid those that contain soy in any form. Put back anything that's ambiguous or those that state beef and or chicken and or pork and or kangaroo, for example, as the protein source. If you can consider a fresh option, a raw or cooked balanced meal will guarantee you can control the ingredients and therefore eliminate that chicken. If this is what's causing your dog all the chronic side effects like itching and vomiting and diarrhea, which you will never know for sure unless you eliminate it from their diet entirely for some time, months in most cases. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? In our case, factory farming did and rendered that question pretty much obsolete.